Alright, you guys, welcome back to the channel. Here for some more Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 updates. Today we have some additional information, but do keep in mind that this info is not 100% concrete, meaning it's not necessarily coming from Bandai Namco themselves or even the developers of Project Age 1000. The details are coming from another content creator who goes by Sophia and Geek. Shoutouts to them. So we do have to take things with the smallest grain of salt, but I do want to mention that he's been known in the community, right? He has his own hidden sources. If you guys remember back in 2024, leading up to the release of Sparking Zero, he's been dropping some details. I'll be honest, not entirely sure how credible the information he was giving out was because I wasn't keeping up to date, but same thing goes for this current Dragon Ball game, Xenoverse 3 / Project Age 1000. So real quick, just some more backstory. You guys remember this tweet by Lewis, also known as Cliffer, dropped the 5 additional points that we have here before the official Dragon Ball games even tweeted out that a new Dragon Ball game was on the horizon, and before we even got to the Project Age 1000 teaser trailer. This tweet came out October 16th before any of that. And going back to Sophia and Geek over here with their own hidden sources, they went ahead and confirmed some of the things that Clifford said about the Xenoverse 3 leaks, correct? Going back over here, this is completely new, just barely dropped today, so let's see what's going on. Sophia and Geek claims to have known about the start of development as early as 2020, which does make sense because they even confirmed themselves at Genkidawa Matsuri, Hirano-san, and Akio Ioku that the game has been in development for 6 or 7 years. It's currently 2026, so 6 years ago would have been 2020. Not too sure how Sophia and Geek would have known that, but apparently he did. According to his information, the delay is due to a change in strategy. The developers decided not to release the game on older generation consoles like the PlayStation 4 to avoid technical limitations. If this is true, in my personal opinion, that's great to hear. I know not everybody has the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series. Some people are still on the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, I think that's what it's called, which is understandable. I get it. These consoles are extremely expensive. As time goes on, as time progresses, they're only going to be developing these games for the current or next-gen consoles. Just take a look at Sparking Zero, prime example. Originally exclusively released on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and Steam, and then later the Nintendo Switch got the Switch 2 updates. It's not on the older generation platforms, except for Switch 1, which is kind of strange, but that looks completely different. It doesn't even play like Sparking Zero. So with this game, especially since it's going to be dropping in 2027, which is again is confirmed by Genkidawa Matsuri, yeah, I expect this game to only be on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, Steam, and maybe potentially Switch 2, because if not, then that means they would have to technically downgrade the core gameplay, features, mechanics of the game, the general build of Project Age 1000, to have it playable on the older generation consoles like PS4 or Xbox Series, and again, it will limit what they could actually do in terms of developing the game with the elements and settings of all that stuff. You know what I mean? And it won't necessarily damage, if you will, the sales of the game. Again, going back to Sparking Zero, some people were saying, well, since Sparking Zero is not going to be on PlayStation 4 or Xbox Series, the sales won't do that well. And then literally day one, the game sold 3 million copies. That's not even an exaggeration. Literally day one sold 3 million copies. No other Dragon Ball game has done that before, even if it's on PS4 and PS5. Yeah, that's just my thoughts behind that. They prefer to start from scratch to create fully next-gen graphics and deepen the gameplay mechanics. This is something that they can now do, since apparently, according to this, that they're not going to be putting it on the older generation consoles. And to me, that's great to read because now they get to utilize PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series to their maximum capacity. Whatever the consoles have to offer, boom. Project Age 1000 is going to be taking that and amplifying it tenfold, strictly on newer generation consoles. Just imagine the open world aspect of it. Whatever Project Age 1000 ends up going to be genre-wise, it's going to be that genre, but to its peak of all peakest gameplay, if that makes any sense. I don't think it does. So here are going to be his exact words. We have 3 additional images to go over. So again, credits to Sophia and Legeek for sharing this. In 2020, I was one of the few Frenchmen to officially announce to you that a Dragon Ball Xenoverse was in development, and I can prove it with my video from 2020. Not necessarily going to be looking up the older video, but I'm just taking his word for it. I was alongside the Xenoverse 2 development team. Dragon Ball FighterZ producer Tomoki Hiroki was also there for a Dragon Ball FighterZ event. Indeed, I was able to chat with them really briefly. It was very quick, but they were there to take notes for their next title. Interesting. So to me, everything implied that it was for Xenoverse 3. For them to take notes of the next title kind of screams a sequel, because if it was truly a new Dragon Ball game project, I don't think they would have taken notes from others. They would just do things themselves like what they have been doing. But since it is a sequel, they would like to know, hey, what are you guys' thoughts for a potential Xenoverse 3? At least that's what I'm getting at reading this sentence here. Moving to the second image, Sophian then says, but then, why so many years of development for this next Xenoverse? Yeah, as I mentioned before, it is interesting how Xenoverse 2 took about 2 years of development, and this potential Xenoverse 3 is 6 or 7 years of development. I feel like they're just going to be putting a ton of content into this game with the different CACs, the story, the world building, which again, Akira Toriyama was heavily involved in. Moving forward, it says, because there was a massive delay and a new strategic choice was adopted. Here is the information I got from my sources. The game Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 was a bit prettier than game Xenoverse 2, but it was nothing exceptional compared to the rest of the competition. Around 2020 was, Fighters, Dragon Ball Z, Kakarot, shoutouts to CC2, they create nothing but top tier cutscenes and Fighters. That's still, to this day, one of the better looking Dragon Ball games with the ultimates, the gameplay in general. So yeah, they kind of felt a bit demoralized, I guess. They cooked up just the foundation of the new game, and there's like, nah, dude, DBZ Kakarot Fighters looks better than this, but better than Xenoverse 2. That's not what they were aiming for. They wanted to level up the graphics by redoing everything from scratch, from A to Z regarding this title. That's why there was a delay. Okay, so we got the answer. Why was there a massive delay? Because they wanted to redo everything from scratch. And if we go back to the leak provided by Lewis, it says right here, many delays and some aspects have been completely restarted from scratch. Afterwards, they also decided to deepen the game to offer an optimal experience for the player. I even spoke with my friend Psycho Devin, who confirmed my sources and who had also heard that the game Xenoverse 3 was supposed to be developed on PS4 and PS5. And consequently, inevitably, if you develop it on PS4, you find yourself graphically limited, as I tried to explain before. And that is why they explained to me that they wanted to do a complete graphical overhaul to push the game much further. Again, huge delay to get the full optimal experience of this next Dragon Ball title, graphically and just content-wise. Last image that we have here, it would be a next-gen exclusive with a gaming experience, from what I've been told, much more developed, with a more developed online mode with a well-crafted story mode, because that's what we are talking about, actually having a successful, well-deepened game with tons of content. The inside info, man. So going back to what DBS Hype tweeted a couple days ago, the info that we have here, all coming from official sources, Kurane-san from Geki Dama Matsuri, or even the Dragon Ball official video game page, right? The bullet points that we have here are all true, and something I want to bring up, they stated themselves that many elements and settings were packed into this project than any other game in history, which I've said before, I think this is referring to like the features, everything that technically builds up a Dragon Ball game. Mechanics, story, visuals, sound designs, the world, environments, the overall experience, you know what I mean? So this game is going to be jam-packed with content. Now, comparing to the info that we just received today, it kind of all lines up, right? From having a more developed online mode, a well-crafted story mode, which obviously is going to take place during Age 1000. They want this game to be a true success with a ton of content. So moving forward, it says, logically, that is what they told me, that there will be quite a bit of content, that it will be truly deep, and consequently, well, I want to know more about it. And that's all the additional details that we have here today. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys think about all this. And massive thanks to Venix on Twitter for bringing this to light. But man, Project Age 1000, a game I'm looking forward to. I even said this in the latest Xenoverse 3 video, that I feel like the world building, Xenoverse 3 in general, is going to be very different compared to Xenoverse 1 and Xenoverse 2, because Xenoverse 2, even though it is significantly better than Xenoverse 1, it was about the same. Don't get me wrong, additional mechanics, features, gameplay way better, online netcode, again, better than Xenoverse 1, but you know what I mean? The format was basically the same. But for Xenoverse 3, also known as Age 1000, I truly feel like it's going to be very different and maybe a bit more similar to Dragon Ball Online. Maybe a mix of both, right? Best of both worlds, if you will. A combination of Xenoverse and a combination of Dragon Ball Online, making it more of a true MMORPG. So, just wanted to go over all this for today. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys think about all this. I find it interesting whenever there's additional Xenoverse 3 news, leaks, or even official updates by Bandai themselves. I'll be sure to let you guys know frame one, so be sure to stay tuned to the channel, turn on post notifications, and if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace!